You're watching ACC Lacrosse on the ACC Network. Today we are in Koskinen Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. Two old-school ACC rivals. The Virginia Cavaliers in town taking on the Duke Blue Devils in a key ACC matchup. Don't be alarmed at that big orange orb in the sky, Kark. It is just the sun. We finally have beautiful weather. It's a great day for lacrosse. Paul Carcaterra, Chris Cotter, and I mentioned the rivalry. I don't know if you can find a rivalry in anywhere, in any sport, where it's been this lopsided.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Since 2004, Duke is 18-0 against Virginia in the regular season. They've absolutely owned the Cavaliers from a psychological perspective. And it's not like Virginia hasn't had crazy success. Since 2004, their 4 national titles are more than any team in the country.
Both teams have had success this year. Duke comes in ranked number 3 in the country, and they have playmakers at all 3 levels.
Oh, Brennan O'Neill leads the nation in overall points. The lefty, he's big, he's strong. The creativity is off the charts. Garrett Ledman, a fifth-year senior, is playing with purpose. He stretches opposing defenses with a blistering shot. Kenny Brower has started every single game of his Duke career, and he's an eraser on the defensive front.
Great news for Virginia fans coming into this game. Connor Schellenberger, their All-American attackman, missed last week against North Carolina, and even though Virginia, they smacked the Tar Heels around a little bit last week, he's back. That's great news for their fans, and it's great news for his line mate.
He's the guy, and he's got vision, and when you think about his teammates, Peyton Cormier, the lefty from Toronto, has ice in his veins. He's number 2 in the nation in goals per game. And what I love about him, the big moment, he always steps up and finds the back of the net. Xander Dixon, his teammate, he's only number 3 in the nation in goals per game. Both of these guys shoot over 50%, have been giving goalies fits. And their shooting percentage is one thing, but it's what they do on the inside. They're always causing havoc in terms of making you protect the paint.
Great crowd today at Koskinen, a near sellout, just packed, and they are ready to get it on, and we're going to see 2 of the top face-off men in the country and 2 of the top face-off men really over the last 3 years in college lacrosse. Jake Naso wins it from Petey LaSala, first possession of the game to the Duke Blue Devils. Both these Fogos will stay on, too, and generate quick offense, as Naso tried to do it hitting Williams, but it bounces off his stick, and it'll be a turnover.
And we talk about psychology, right, with this matchup with Virginia and Duke. The face-off dot is very psychologically driven because Jake Naso, as much success as he's had, the one guy he really hasn't been able to solve over the years, Petey LaSala.
Evan Zinn completes the clear. Now Virginia with an opportunity. First time of the game, 6v6. They'll get into the cross of Jeff Connor. Thomas McConvey, number 12, the transfer from Vermont, also on this first midfield unit, but over and back. So both teams with a turnover in their first possession. McAdory. He part of this attack unit, Kark, with O'Neill and Williams. The 3 of them have really just fit in perfectly together, and they seem to get better every single game.
Absolutely, and it's interesting. Quentin Matsui is guarding Brennan O'Neill, 22 in blue on 34 in white. Over the last couple years, they've tried Cade Sawstead. They tried Cole Kastner to no avail, so now Matsui gets a shot at the All-American.
The freshman Balsamo got his left hand free, shoots, and Nunes goes down to make the save. Good sign for Virginia. When Nunes starts off early and has a couple of good saves, he tends to carry that throughout the whole game.
Yeah, he had a rough 3-game patch, right? Earlier in the season in March against Johns Hopkins, against Towson, and against Maryland. But against Notre Dame, he was 58%. I think he found his confidence when they beat the Irish and became the new #1 team in the nation 2 weeks ago. That was big for the Cavaliers in terms of finding that presence defensively.
Ball down on the ground, picked up by the Blue Devils. This is another part of their game that they have gotten much better at this year. Early offense on the quick break. Try to get it Frizzoli, cutting with a long pole. He got decked.
That was a good look by Dyson Williams, the lefty known to be a goal scorer, only 2 assists on the season.
39 goals and 2 assists.
Found Frizzoli, but I like that. It's giving a green light to all those defensive players, right? You're not handling that shot if you're Frizzoli, but it's just a philosophy and a way that you want to play from end to end that I don't think Duke had so much last year, but they have it this year.
We've seen Nunes get involved on that side of the field in the cage. No shots on goal yet. That one even sails over the head of William Helm. He's in net for Duke. What do you make of his performance, the transfer out of St. Lawrence?
I think he's been steady. He's over 50%. No one a year ago had any idea about him. He's playing in Division III at St. Lawrence. And I think he's been one of the bigger surprises in college lacrosse from a D1 perspective, making that jump. And he earned that position in the offseason, right? He shows up in July, puts on 15 pounds, wins over his teammates, and goes through a goalie battle and outright wins it based on performance.
3 turnovers early for Virginia. They haven't even really tested Helm. Duke with the successful clear. Now they'll get a chance here early and score the first goal of the game. It's Williams. That's number 40 on the season for Dyson Williams.
He's born to score. The senior Canadian lefty. Give him an opportunity. And we talked about transition. Caputo is a defensive midfielder. He knows he can spot feed Williams. And this is what I like about Duke in 2023. Much more transition and opportunities when you give Dyson Williams an unsettled situation the ball. He's going to can it, Cotter. And the more you can hit in transition, the more you play to the strengths of the attack.
You see 16 games in a row with a goal for Williams. Ball hits the official in play. Big battle for it in the middle of the field. Duke comes out of there with it. Tyler Carpenter quickly gets to McAdory, who whistles it wide.
This is the pace, though, right? Carpenter, green light. Get it off the wing. You're a long pole. Who cares? Push.
Matthew Nunes has had to make a save already today. Went down and Rod Balsamo, who had a very good look, so he's already getting into the flow. O'Neal off the top pipe.
See the way Matsui, 22 in blue, is playing Brennan O'Neal, flushing him out and daring him to go right, opening up his hips and giving him his right.
McAdory turns and shoots, stays with Duke. Closest to the ball when it goes out of bounds on a shot, either retains or gains possession. In this case, it's Duke and Schelling retaining possession. Working on the shorty, now trying to maybe get a little two-man game with O'Neal behind the cage. Williams, shot misses. O'Neal, that's a question mark, and a goal.
This is smart lacrosse by Brennan O'Neal. Moments ago I mentioned they're flushing him to the right side. So he knows Quentin Matsui is going to force his right hand. He plays it like he wants just a straight line dodge to get that righty shot, because moments ago he didn't change his hands. He just went past goal line extended and shot righty. This time he rolls back. So he's playing a little cat and mouse game. It's the counter from the first dodge. It's the question mark, and it's the answer.
Saw the goal streak from Williams. O'Neal's got one of his own. That's 22 games in a row with a goal for the big junior from Bayshore, New York. Face-off violation against Petey. Naso's off to a great start at the dot for Duke. McAdory working on the short stick. Now you get Chismar coming out on him. Charles Balsamo, the freshman. With this great attack line that Duke has, you're going to have a player like Zero playing midfield, but his future here in Durham is at attack. This guy's been a real problem for defenses this year, number one.
Yeah, and the beauty of Garrett Ledman, number one, stepping up is Balsamo gets a short stick, right? Because all the teams are worried physically about Ledman.
Denenza almost was able to get his hands free, just way too much traffic though. Now Kastner.
What a play. What a play by 39 in blue, right? Closing on that ball and scooping it to Schellenberger.
Connor, he shoots. Misses the target, but Dixon is there to back it up. Dixon to Schellenberger. McConvey. Extra pass. Shot, score! Cormier is able to finish it. Dixon, where I thought McConvey was going to take the shot. No, that's what everybody else thought. He knew he had Cormier.
They've been playing lacrosse since they're like 4 or 5 years old, McConvey and Cormier, but it all starts with Cole Kastner, who's a menace in the middle of the field. Does an incredible job. Watch this little scoop to himself, and then he flips it to Schellenberger. I mean, that is an amazing middle of the field play by a defender who they use so much in space, too. He's big in the ride, but obviously equally effective in the clear, giving this offense that opportunity. And when McConvey and Cormier are together, man, it is smooth.
And Cormier missed a couple of games with an injury earlier this year, so he has 35 goals. And as you see in just those 9 games, we talked about at the top of the show, second in the country in goals per game. Dixon's third in the country. CJ Kirst is like on a different planet right now for Cornell. Top that category. Another face-off violation, second here in the early going, Kark, against Petey.
That's 4 wins for Duke to 0 for Virginia. Like I said earlier, too, this is a matchup head-to-head. Petey LaSalle has had the best of Jake Naso. I mean, career-wise, Petey's 62% against Duke. Naso's under 50%. But today, the tide is turning.
Shelling the transfer from Lehigh in that second midfield unit for Duke. So Owen Caputo in now. And joined by Grant Mitchell. 55's getting some more playing time. Shelling upfield. Now Castor with the help. Inside, O'Neal can't get his hands free, though. Is all over him, and he gets finally rocked. Loose ball in front of the crease. Smallest guy in the field, McIndory, comes out of there with it. Skip pass to the far side. Caputo takes a shot. Nunes is there. Up in front. Johnny on the spot as Tommy Shelling.
How do you answer? Virginia's the highest scoring team in the nation with 18 goals plus per game because you have guys like Peyton Cormier who can slice and dice a goalie. But on the other side, Duke averaging over 15 goals a game. Nunes makes a fantastic first save, but the rebound, Tommy Shelling, the fifth-year senior, knows crashed the boards when the ball's in the air off a shot and a rebound. Duke answers.
Duke has won all 4 faceoffs, 2 of them on violations, as Petey's now trying to anticipate the whistle, and he does a great job that time, winning his first of the day. Chismar makes one-man miss, gets it to Cormier. Petey will stay on the field, 23 in blue. Not afraid to stay on the field on offense and hopefully give him a little bit of a mismatch. Now he's subbing out.
As he should. I mean, offensively, last week against Carolina, Petey LaSalle is a face-off specialist, but not a face-off specialist. He's known as one because he plays all over the field. He had a lefty goal on the run that was absolutely gorgeous from the outside against the Heels.
Liaison. Look at that full head of steam for number 50 in blue. He wears a linebacker's number because he was a linebacker at Stanford, a starting linebacker last year.
This is what I'm interested in seeing. Last week, Connor Schellenberger was on the shelf with a lower body injury. How does he respond in terms of his change of direction and his quickness against Kenny Brower?
Here's the matchup. Schellenberger trying to get free. Can't, but he gets it to Garno. Shoots and scores! You've been telling me for a long time that's what you need to see more from 33, Peter Garno.
The reason being, Cotter, is you have all of these great finishers. Cormier, McConvey, Dixon. If you have that outside stretch shooter, Peter Garno, defenses have to deal with you differently. But what I love about this is the patience and the feed by Connor Schellenberger. The boss is back. One in blue is healthy, and he's dealing.
These two teams met just a couple of weeks ago, and It was more of the same, Kark, in terms of Duke being able to continue their streak against Virginia, but it was a close game throughout.
Yeah, Peyton Cormier, 24 in orange that night, had 6 goals, but Brendan O'Neill was near perfect. 6 goals, 3 assists, 1 turnover. He played a masterful game. And guess what happened? Duke won in the regular season against Virginia. Shocker.
And
18
Lars
straight, Cotter. It's nuts.
After that game, Lars was probably not thinking of the other 17. He's really thinking about, we've recruited guys to beat Duke. We've recruited guys to do certain things to beat Duke, and they didn't do them in that game. So that whole next week, he was all over them. Do the things we brought you here to do. Run by your man. Win your physical matchup.
Exactly. He felt last time out against Duke, they were bullied. And he's how we bullied, he's saying to himself, right? You have Ricky Miezon, you have Griffin Schutz, you have Thomas McCombie. These guys are 6'3", 6'4", 220, 230 pounders. And that's the way that he's recruiting. When he recruits, he wants to find guys offensively that could win one-on-one matchups to beat this team.
Yep. Naso's winning his one-on-one matchup in this first quarter. Lopsided at the face-off dot. 5-1 is the tally to this point. Duke settling in 6v6. Balsamo and Tenenza coming on.
You know what's interesting? When you watch Cole Kastner, 39 in blue, he's guarding Andrew McAdory, who's about a foot smaller than him, right? Kastner can play smaller, quick guys. Like, he just eats up so much space, and he's patient. He never really bites on that quick move. I thought he played Pat Cavanaugh from Notre Dame really, really well a couple weeks ago.
Balsamo gets by Evans in. That's not an easy thing to do. Nunes comes out to make the save in traffic. Goes out of bounds. It stays with Duke, and O'Neill put it back in play. There's Balsamo.
This is the matchup I was talking about. The quick McAdory against the long Kastner.
Oh, boy. There was a confusion that time defensively for Virginia, and McAdory's going to make you pay every time.
He didn't have to run by Kastner because Virginia didn't play the pick right. Miscommunication, there was no fighting through the pick or a switch. McAdory realizes that. Watch here behind. Balsamo with the pick, and the lack of communication by Virginia. The speedster McAdory, once he sees that space, he hits the accelerator and pings that bottom corner.
Lars immediately, when his defenders came off the field, he has him right now over just outside the box, and he's not saying he's giving him the business, but
he's talking picks.
Yeah, a little tutoring.
Yeah.
Puts the hat back on, now back to the front line, ready for business, ready for this face-off. He's got to have 23, doing a little bit of a better job, and he wins this face-off. Loses the ball initially, but Kastner tracks it down. Nunes looking for help. Going to get it in the form of Xander Dixon. Successful clear for the Cavaliers.
Dixon, 10 in blue, is being defended by Wilson Stevenson, 19 in white. Those are high school teammates, same class, both fifth-year seniors. Played at Brunswick and Greenwich, Connecticut together for years, and now opponents in a monster ACC tilt.
Kenny Brower come and help out on Cormier, and Convey can't get it on Cage. Backed up, though, by the freshman Truett Sunderland. He'll get some play in time. Both Sunderland and Schellenberger in the game at the same time. That's interesting. Sunderland's kind of that fourth attackman for Lars Tiffany. But good to see Schellenberger healthy enough to get all these minutes. Cormier swims underneath.
They're going to have him for a ward.
Yeah, a little ward. That's something you don't see called very often in the game anymore, but it's called against Cormier, so another turnover. That's 4 on the game against Virginia.
You rarely see a Canadian, because they play with 2 hands on their stick, ever get called for that ward, but when he swam the defender, he had that free arm.
Look at this play. Brilliant by Keith Boyer. Crowd appreciative of the hustle on that clear. Hey, we'll have every game of the ACC Women's Lacrosse Championship starting next Sunday afternoon on the ACC Network. Good opportunity that time for Caputo. Don't forget, it starts on Wednesday. It's Wednesday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday's the championship game on the 30th at noon. Those games being played in Charlotte. Caputo pushed off his line. No call.
Charlotte makes sense for any ACC lacrosse tournament, men's or women's. Direct flights for all the schools.
Right. Also, that American Legion Stadium where they had the PLL last year, it's a great size stadium. Perfect for lacrosse. And Schelling! Tommy Schelling with his second goal of the game.
Schelling's coming alive, coming into today's contest. More of a passer with the 7 assists and only 3 goals. He's got 2 already, Cotter. It's been Johnny on the spot. First was the rebound, and this is a really nice one-on-one move. Gets the defender Zinn to bite back. Thinking he's going behind the cage, and then he switches his hands again. So right here, Schelling decides to go back. Zinn thinks, okay, I got him. He's just going behind the cage. He's going to have a basic exchange from a pass standpoint, and then he re-attacks. So the re-dodge by Tommy Schelling is money.
He was a goal scorer at Lehigh before he transferred in. Kind of found his way to the second midfield line here for Coach Danowski. Naso really doing a great job against Petey today. Chismar chases him down, makes him give it up. Jack Gray subs out. Ledman comes on, number 1. Haven't really seen too much from him yet today. 4 minutes left to go in this first quarter. They haven't needed him. Schelling in this second midfield line has really picked it up. Denenza. Ledman. Now we'll see him shoot. Fakes it. Look at that pass. Oh, wow! Williams finishes it. Great ball movement. I couldn't even keep up with it, Card.
You were asking about Garrett Ledman, how he's been quiet. He's the reason for this goal, Cotter. He decides to go to the rack, and he gets the entire Virginia defense to collapse. This is Garrett Ledman right there with the face dodge. Look at all the blue shirts. That's where this defense is broken down. And McAdory with a brilliant pass to Dyson Williams, because he got the defense spinning. Once McAdory catches the ball, he knows they are disoriented. They are completely a mess in terms of where they're playing or who they're playing. And that's what a great feeder does. You catch the ball and you understand when a defense is vulnerable. Because all those shirts, 3 shirts went to Garrett Ledman.
Duke's converted on 5 of their last 8 shots. Really getting efficient looks. Petey trying to track down that face-off, but it ends up in a Duke lacrosse player's stick once again. Brower showing the athleticism. Trying to get it to O'Neal. O'Neal eventually picks it up. Haphazard here on the Duke offensive end. Williams settles it in a little bit. Duke's in the middle of a 3-0 run. Schelling, number 31 on that second midfield's got a couple of goals today. McAdory. Kastner. You can see the size differential between those two as Kastner tries to stick with the really quick McAdory. Great look, Schelling. Can he get 3? Tough angle.
The reach allows him to make up for the quickness, right? The change of direction from McAdory is elite, right? It's so explosive. But Kastner played a lot of basketball in high school, understands how to use his hips and how to play in space.
Defender fell down. That ball squibs its way outside of the restraining area, but McAdory gives chase. Mitchell. 3 to shoot. Gonna have to get something quickly. They can't. Shot clock violation. Kastner will pick it up, and he'll be on his horse. No, he won't. Wanted to, but they wouldn't blow the whistle in.
Yeah, Virginia wanted a quick restart.
Zinn won't get an opportunity to use his speed and quickness, so he gets it to Schutz. Final 2 minutes of this first quarter. Garno had a goal earlier. Defense comes to help out. Virginia's just a little more out of sorts than Duke is on the offensive end, Kark.
Yeah, I would give a couple of longer possessions going through X with Schellenberger, who I thought in warm-ups looked really good. You know, he missed last week because of the injury, but he looked quick. He looked like himself. I think he has to have the ball every possession right here behind the cage. Good things happen.
Coming upfield, defended so beautifully, though, by Will Frizzoli. Loose ball. It is a stay with Virginia, but what defense?
Oh, that was great defense by Will Frizzoli. I've been really impressed with Will Frizzoli in the middle of the field. He scored some big goals this season. He's got an active stick with quick hands, and you saw when Schellenberger decided to bring that stick back just a little bit, Frizzoli had the answer.
Tried to get it to Cormier, who avoids the crease but can't keep the ball. Maybe he didn't. I think he stepped into the crease. 5 turnovers now for Virginia. 5 turnovers and 6 shots in this game so far for Virginia. Offensively, they just have not been able to get in sync.
That is not the recipe. You know, Lars Tiffany told us this week, I asked him, I'm like, how do you deal with the mindset of a streak like this? He said, well, we don't think about 2004. They haven't beaten Duke since 2004 in the regular season. He says he wants to deal with the immediacy, the 2 weeks ago when they lost to Duke by 2 goals. Like, how do we improve? How do we play with more physicality? But part of that is playing clean, too. You're not going to beat this team on the road with more turnovers than shots.
McAdory shoots, Nunes makes the save. With as good a looks as Duke is getting, Kark, they're going to need Nunes today.
He's made a couple really good stops. Unfortunate with one of the rebounds, but I like his body language. He's on the shots that he's missing, where when he went through that rough patch this year, I felt like the balls that went in, he wasn't even like physically on those shots. Today he's on the shots.
We had a flag come out right before the end of the quarter. We'll get the call. It's going to go against Jack Gray. He thought, and many here in attendance thought, he made a great play defensively, but apparently it wasn't great enough. We need to see the replay of this, because I wonder whether he got him on the head or what prompted the call. There's Hans, one of our referees today.
Always has a tan, living in
Oh my God,
right?
Look at him.
Foul's on White, 51 White. It's going to serve the foul. It's offside, 30 seconds.
This was offside. That's why they waited and made the call once Duke got possession. Didn't see it. Hans Wittelsberger with the call. Count the players in white.
Yeah, that's a heck of a play.
Wiped off by the offside. Yeah, good eye by Hans to pick it up. Dino, cool customer, and why not? His team with the 6-2 lead through 1. Duke looking to continue the streak. Coming in as the number 3 team in the country, looking to protect their home turf. The Stars have come to the 4. The Blue Devil lead is 4. Well, these 2 teams plus Notre Dame and the ACC Kark went battling it out. Now look at the beginning of the year. You had Virginia and Notre Dame close to number 1 in the country. Here comes Duke, and then look at the last 4 weeks.
Oh, it's crazy. Everyone is beating up on each other. Who wants to be number 1? You know what the beauty of all this is? Duke obviously has Virginia's number. Virginia has Notre Dame's number, and Notre Dame has Duke's number, right? And we're not just talking this year. Like, over the last bunch of years, for some reason, the matchups with these programs, it's really hard to put your finger on. Like, when you think of this rivalry, right, Duke, Virginia, how in the world has Virginia not beaten Duke in the regular season?
Right.
Since
it's crazy. It's one of those things that just doesn't make any sense, because you just think because how good they've been, they'll run into a win. Somehow, some way, they'll find a way to have all the balances go their way over that length of time. And they've won a couple of games in the postseason. It's just the regular season. Now, man up for Garno. Hell makes the save. Can't find it. Now he does.
That was the look, though, right? He had that step down. You saw the release. I thought he could have done better with the ball placement, because William Helm had no clue where that ball was. It hit him in the sweatpants. Garno just didn't move him enough.
Virginia, look out here. Schellenberger, eyes wide open. Extra pass. Cormier couldn't make anything of it. Back to full strength, Cart. So Garno got the one good look on the 32nd man up. Wasn't able to convert. Now fresh shot clock for Virginia. So they've got still 50, 56, 57 seconds to shoot. Dixon on the shorty. Back to Schellenberger. Now Brower comes out to check him. Shoots, not much on it, but it had a funny bounce. Got over Helm, he got a piece of it. Fresh 60.
If I'm Connor Schellenberger, I'm trying Kenny Brower to the opposite side. I would drive lefty on him. I thought Pat Cavanaugh had some success when he drove lefty on the lefty Brower, because Brower has to play cross for him or behind him, kind of play him against the grain. When he dodges right-handed on that lefty, he's playing into the strength of Kenny Brower, 29 in white.
Loose ball hold against Duke. Another opportunity for Virginia. Extended possession here for the Cavaliers. Now we get inside the crease, so Xander Dixon just inadvertently inside the crease. A lot of mistakes that we haven't seen a lot from Virginia this year. The Cavs are making in the first half. Just a totally unforced error. And now Duke with the easy clear and a chance for offense here. Flag down. We're gonna get an offside again, I think. No, maybe not. I don't want to speak too soon as the officials meet to talk things over. Let's get a word from our officials. Lars wants an explanation.
Got a technical foul. Blue offsides, number 0, 30 seconds. Blue 0,
was another offside.
30.
Yeah, that was when Jack Gray was clearing the ball. Virginia tried to ride. But this is the careless mistake by Xander Dixon. He puts his hand in the crease.
Man.
That's the change of possession. Then when Jack Gray clears the ball, Virginia doesn't have 3 back.
So it's a 30-second man up now for Duke. Both teams with an offside penalty. Virginia wasn't able to convert on their man up. Let's see what Duke can do. Duke only 30th in the country in man-up offense, Clark. You would think they'd be higher.
42%.
Williams can't get one off, but look at Caputo. Quick hands to Denenza. Now full strength.
I said this last week. The one player I think that probably could add a little bit to this extra man unit would be Garrett Ledman, because of the outside shooting ability. He's not on the extra man. He's scoring a ton of goals as a fifth-year senior. I think he would give them that outside shooting presence.
Denenza working on Soliday. Soliday's had a great year. Look out here, O'Neal. Goodness.
That's his look. He normally cans there.
Right.
Forces a goalie to make a save there.
Just off target.
Whipped.
Kastner brings the ball across the midfield line. Now he's checked, tries to get it. Nope, now he gets it over to Schellenberger. Now Connor.
Kastner got you on that fake, huh?
He really did, deked me hard, middle of the field. Now Dixon. Liaison. Full head of steam out of the box, switches to his left, bounces it, not even close. Gotta find a way to get 50 more involved, don't we?
Yeah, just get him his reps. You know, a lot of times you watch Ricky throughout the course of a game, it's a run here in this quarter, it's a run here in another quarter. I think he needs to get into the rhythm of a game more.
Yeah, a little more flow. Dixon, harassed, had a man in McConvey open, just couldn't connect. Liaison, looking to dodge up top. Bull dodge there, but can't create enough space.
Wilson Stevenson, 19 in white, he checks so well.
Came out to help out, but that means space for Cormier, who beats his man and then beats Helm, his second of the day.
When Duke beat Virginia 2 weeks ago by the score of 16-14, Duke decided to short stick Peyton Cormier. They felt like, okay, There's more of dodging presence on the Virginia team, and we just have to deal with the inside presence of Peyton Cormier. But what he did that day, and he does now, he beats short sticks to the goal for unassisted goals. It's not just him being a crease guy finishing everything inside. He uses that big body, and once he gets inside, it's really game over. Because his release is so quick, he doesn't have to cock back the stick to finish. It's right from the ear. So when he gets inside of you, you're pretty much done.
And at 6'2", 200 plus, you saw Frizzoli there thinking of sliding, but what's he going to do when he's got a full head of steam?
Good luck moving that body, right?
Yeah.
That's why, like, when a lot of players go inside, Cotter, you could drive them behind. Good luck driving him behind. Like, when he gets that inside presence, you're done.
Petey tried to get the shot off, but he was sandwiched in between two Duke defenders, and it ends up being a turnover. So, you know, that in that situation right there, what do you say to Petey? Is that the shot?
Live with that with Petey.
You do?
You have to live with him now. Do you like that? No, of course not.
But he gives you so many great opportunities, you'll take that one.
Sometimes he takes that extra step or two and finds the defensive pressure and he loses the ball, okay? But with that said, is you get 3 or 4 plays with him on the field that you wouldn't get with another face-off guy. You got to live with it, but you still have to educate him when he gets off the field. Like, Petey, pick your spots. Like, we're playing a lot of defense. We're losing. The ball is the most important thing right now.
Schelling loses his footing and now loses the ball. Kastner just vacuums it up. We have a beautiful day today, but we had a ton of rain last night and really over the last couple of weeks. So this field here at Koskinen has taken on a lot of water and it has drained beautifully. But you got to think it's a little slick, given the fact that we had storms last night roll through here.
It does look great, though, because this time of the year, sometimes it gets chewed up in February and March. This is the best I've seen this field look physically at this juncture of the season in a while.
Garno now looking to dodge. Slide comes, he's in a little bit of trouble.
There's the active stick I mentioned of Frizzoli, right? Like, he is quick with his hands.
Inside of 10 minutes in the second quarter. Shot goes high from Patrick McIntosh.
Here's the matchup. Now he's starting to drive lefty. Does he stay left-handed? Because now you see Brower goes against the grain and has to play him when he drives lefty differently than when he drives righty.
McIntosh loses his footing. We'll get a call here.
I don't know about this. We'll have to see the replay. That looked like good, aggressive, strong defense. Got him with a hold.
Fouls on White, 12 White with the hold. 30
30-second hold. Take another look at this. Real time, it looked like good defense. A little bit of a hold in the beginning. I don't know.
Yeah, a little right up on the lower side of the helmet.
In the replay, see Jake Caputo. In the replay, it looks way more of a hold than real time.
Nice pass, and Garno will get another look. Race for the ball at the end line. Won by the Blue Devils. That's great hustle.
Incredible hustle.
Henry Bard making the play. Man down to get possession to the Duke Blue Devils. That's a huge play by Bard.
Bard's only a freshman with a bright future, and it's tough getting runs on the defensive end with all these returning guys. Wilson Stevenson, Kenny Brower, Keith Lawyer, right? There's so many guys.
So many Poles that are veterans, have been around for a long time.
But a play like that will give you another chance in this game, right? Like, Henry Bard will get on the field again with a play like that.
Kills off the man down, so we're at even strength for Ledman. It ends on Grayson Soliday, who's had an All-American season at short stick D-midi for Virginia. Good look, Ledman makes a man miss, bounces it, can't get it on goal, and a flag is down. Be a delayed call against Virginia.
Yeah, Ledman got whacked on that face dodge, and he kind of left his feet, and he took one.
O'Neal from the wing. Sawstead knocks it out of the stick, and now we'll get the whistle.
Blue 43/1 minute.
Slash call too, Clark, so it's a minute.
Yeah, that was on Garrett Ledman when he went to the rack. Mitch Whalen, the guilty party. Here's a look. Ledman with the face dodge. Got him a little high. They're calling it tight.
Yeah, they are. A couple of these calls. So now Duke with a man up for a minute.
Watch Dyson Williams, 51 in white. After this transfer, he'll go inside.
That's McAdory over to Caputo. Denenza shoots and scores.
Denenza's been doing all the little things. Smart player, tremendous IQ. He's in the right spot at the right time. And watch the release as Grayson Solity goes out to pressure Denenza. Shoots right over him. And it looks like Nunes' screen can't track it. Blue Devils up 4. The domination of Virginia continues. Yeah, this place, I was driving around yesterday too. You saw like all the alum athletes, non-athletes bringing back their families on a beautiful weekend down here. Sun splash day.
Great crowd. They're seeing a Duke team take control of this game against Virginia. It's 7-3. Great chance here. They make it 8-3. And it's Aiden McGuire, the freshman from Hingham, Mass, on that rope unit. Coach Danowski's been singing his praises, and he gets rewarded with an offensive opportunity and his 3rd goal of the year.
This guy looks the part. He plays the part. He's an offensive midfielder out of St. Seb's in Massachusetts. And I think the biggest change for Duke this season that people really don't talk about as much is the play of the short stick defensive midfielders. Jack Gray and Aiden McGuire have been difference makers in transition as well, because both of them were high-end recruits as offensive players, and it's not that easy to make that switch. Not every offensive guy can play defense, but when you can play defense at the midfield and you're an offensive guy, you give that boost in transition and the ability to strike.
Flag on the play. That's the 3rd face-off violation of the half against Virginia, so it'll be a 30-second penalty and another man-up situation for Duke. Virginia is just handing them opportunities here in this first half.
At 8-3, this is so critical for Lars Tiffany to figure out this game. And I say this because of the history. And people could say, oh, what does 2004 have to do with now? Duke is in the mind of Virginia. I don't care what anyone says. And when you're up 8-3 and you're extra man and you're against the ropes, like, where is the answer for Virginia? Where is the answer today?
They need an answer on this side of the field right now. They've gone over 17 minutes without a goal, and they've allowed Duke to forge this 5-goal advantage, looking to make it more. Caputo will shoot and make it more. 9-3.
They can't miss. Owen Caputo has had a balanced season. That's his 12th goal to go along with 12 helpers. 50-year senior, he's been there and done it, and the extra man, no one is respecting him as an outside presence. And he says, give me time and room. I'll make you turn and rake.
Seven different goal scorers for Duke today, Cart, amongst their 9 goals. And they continue to dominate possession, and Naso at the faceoff dot's a huge reason. This Virginia defense has been on the field, not obviously on the field, but in action the entire first half.
That's why I was saying a couple face-offs ago when Petey went down, that was a good time for the offense to catch their breath, to get the ball around, to rest these guys.
Caputo on Whalen, now back behind the cage to Schelling. He's got a couple of goals already. Trying to dodge on Soliday. Ball knocked down, Soliday picks it up.
If I'm Virginia, I'm not sliding to Grayson Soliday. He's been incredible this season. Leads the team in non-face-off ground balls, gets after offensive players. I think he's one of the better short sticks in the country. And this is a guy less than a year ago blew out his ACL.
Right, it's been amazing. Team
no
captain.
knee brace, nothing. Flying around.
Chismar, you thought he could shoot. McConvey shoots, bouncer too high.
How about that game at 4 o'clock on ESPNU? The Cuse with their best performance in a win against Princeton last week. Joey Spallina, the freshman, with 9 points. They're playing at a neutral site in Maryland. That is a monster game for both teams.
Yeah, Q and Anish will have the call for you at 4 o'clock on ESPNU. You're right, winner kind of stays alive for postseason berth losers and probably must win the rest of the season type of situation.
That's exactly right. I think the winner can split their last 2 games, right? It's all ACC play from now on. I think the loser, you just ask them to be underdogs in both games, and it's probably too much.
I mean, Carolina, if Carolina wins that game and they split the last 2 games they have with Notre Dame, they could host. That's how big of a game this is for them in terms of keeping all their hopes and dreams alive.
Especially if Johns Hopkins continues to win. That's a big win for them at a conference.
Look at O'Neal physically and scores.
Everyone is coming to the party for the Blue Devils. And it's only a matter of time their best player makes a monster play. Who was the guy I talked about earlier? Aiden McGuire and Jack Gray. Jack Gray makes that play, and then O'Neal just eats the defensive pressure for Virginia. Soaks this check right here. He just runs through. That's just too easy. You cannot rely just on stick to stop 34 and White.
Our player spotlight brought to you by New York Life. Brennan O'Neal. You saw the recruit lived up to it his freshman year, and he's done nothing but build upon that ever since. 10-3 our score. O'Neal's goal, putting Duke up 7, and a timeout at the 4:17 mark here in this first half. The Blue Devils are in danger of running away with this thing right now.
It's unbelievable how they're clicking on all cylinders in the distribution and all the players who are part of this success. If you're a coach, this is exactly what you want. You don't want your team to have to ride Brennan O'Neal all the time. This is a balanced scoring approach.
You mentioned the balanced approach. They've been able to get early offense. That was Williams. Question mark from O'Neal. That was his first goal of the day.
There's Aiden McGuire. We talk about the inside presence of Dyson Williams, Brennan O'Neal, and then the stretch shooting. It's McGuire, it's Caputo, so they're clicking on all cylinders. And when he gets ahead of steam and he fights up goal line extended, and he's only met with a 6-foot pole, come on, he snaps that like it's nothing. Talk about delivering to one of the bigger recruits in recent memory, but what you have with recruits now that you didn't have 20 years ago to deal with the pressure, it's all the social media, it's the magazine covers. So the buzz and hearing all the hype day after day about this guy, all he's done is deliver. He's going to be a Tewaaraton finalist this year, should be a first-team All-American.
You know what I love when Dino talks about him? He says, it's always great when your best player is your best voice. And his voice in the locker room carries so much weight. He's not a big, loud, rah-rah
that's
talker.
taking time.
Yeah, when he talks, he's like E.F. Hutton. When he speaks, man, people listen. Let's take a look at the top 10 and Inside Lacrosse media poll, because these two teams come in 2 and 3 respectively. Virginia 2, Duke 3. Notre Dame has assumed that top spot. Then you're looking at Maryland, and what a year for Penn State. They got the big win in overtime against Hopkins last week. They just keep beating good teams.
Penn State could be the Ivy champ. They beat Cornell, they beat Penn, they beat Yale. So out of conference, those wins are huge. Notre Dame, to me, from a balance standpoint, this is Kevin Corrigan's most balanced, deepest team he's ever coached in 3+ decades.
This is a group right here, 11-20. You see a lot of teams there a little bit in desperation mode right now. They've either got to win out, or they need one or maybe even two really impressive RPI wins to put them in a discussion for an at-large berth. And also, you know, you got Ivy League teams thinking about that tournament that you guys are going to be calling at Columbia in early May, where a team like Princeton, who's playing much better lacrosse now, might be thinking, we need to win that tournament. Or Yale even is thinking, we got to go in there and win that tournament.
Yeah, they're getting 2 tops. Last year, they got 6. So when they beat each other in April because of how well they did in February and March out of conference, those wins actually help them from an RPI standpoint. Now, that league is in trouble in terms of how many teams they're going to get.
Right.
I mean, it is a possibility, depending on the next few weeks. It could be a 1-bid league.
What happened with them last year is happening to the ACC and the Big Ten this year. They had such good years out of conference that beating each other up in the conference is not hurting them that badly.
Well, how many teams did the ACC get last year?
Yeah, 1 team.
1 team.
They have all 5 still in contention at this point. And Syracuse and North Carolina, who play at 4 o'clock today on ESPNU, have some work to do, but still alive. Now back to full strength. Williams, if he could have just gotten through that traffic with the ball, he'd have been in good shape. Now Chismar, he can run like the wind. Zinn, rather, check that.
Yeah, this guy, he's got wheels.
Zinn behind the back, Schellenberger, quick passing shot. Helm is up to the task.
Sutherland had to take another step upfield to increase his angle, or shoot to the lower corner, because anything high in that spot, Helm was waiting.
O'Neal's feeling it. Couldn't get it on target.
Yeah, here's Sunderland right there. He's got that limited angle. I think the only spot he could have gone would be the low and away pipe area, because Helm was, body positioning was really, really strong. You know, back to what you were saying too about the conferences, it's strange because in February, March, your biggest rivals in conference, you have to root for them at a conference, because it all affects your RPI and your ability to get those wins. And when you lose, it's not the biggest deal when your conference teams are crushing it at a conference early season.
Virginia down 7, may have looked to go quickly there. Instead, Schellenberger to Sunderland. They'll slow it down a little bit and find McConvey coming out of the box.
You know, this is crazy too, because people in our chairs, typically you want to have the answers for things, right? Like, I don't have the answer for why Virginia can't figure it out against Duke in the regular season ever, right? For the last 20 years. It's amazing to me. You see, like, a lot of differences in their pace when they play Duke, their aggressiveness. Like, this doesn't look like the same Virginia team.
Cormier tried to feed Sunderland in front. They're not crisp, they're not sharp. And last week they were amazingly crisp and sharp in the North Carolina
But even
game.
look at the bench.
Even without Schellenberger.
It's like right now, it's borderline lifeless.
Right, you're right. Minute and 5 away from halftime. When we get to the half, Kark will tell us about the ACC favorites for the Tuaraton Award coming up, and there are a number of them. And we'll take a look at some of the games still to come over the next couple of weeks on ESPN networks in the ACC, including a little bit of a preview of that 4 o'clock game between North Carolina and the Cuse. We did mention the RPI a little bit before, Kark. And this time of year, you start to think, we've been talking polls, But RPI is really where the rubber meets the road in terms of these teams trying to get in as an there are so few at-large berths in college lacrosse.
Yeah, the RPI is huge, but I will say this. The RPI has disappointed me in the past, or the lack of clarity on how much we should rely on the RPI, because last year, Notre Dame and Duke were both top 10 RPI, right? Neither got into the NCAA tournament. So this is a monster criteria for sure. But you see Notre Dame is sitting pretty because of their out-of-conference schedule as well, beating teams like Georgetown,
right,
Maryland, and Michigan. They're in really great shape.
You saw North Carolina there with Denver and Ohio State here at 15. These are opponents that North Carolina has had this year.
Yeah, and this is why a lot of people are thinking Syracuse, maybe if you win today, you split the two, but then some people think Syracuse might have to win all three because of their RPI. You didn't see them, right? They're not a top 20 RPI team. They got some work to do.
So the committee gives you a little bit of a look, right? They open up the curtain just a little bit, and they give you a reveal of where we stand right now in terms of our top 10. We'll get that at halftime of this Hopkins-Ohio State game at 2 o'clock as Virginia strikes back. Now this may actually help the Wahoos. Last minute of the half, Kark, they got to get that bench going. They got to get some good feeling, and maybe one more before we go to break will really get them thinking they got a shot in the second half here.
Give them reason to believe. And Jeff Connor, the fifth-year senior, he plays both ends. He's all over the field, a lot like Brian Tevlin and Quinn McCann for Notre Dame. Loses that ball in the initial dodge, but he's smart enough to get his own GB and turns and shoots. But you're right, Chris. Now if you get a Petey LaSalle transition opportunity, you get to 10-5, it's a totally different ball game than a minute ago.
And you see it's been a long drought for Virginia. First goal since 11-11 here in this quarter.
There's Petey.
See, now he got it.
There he goes. Oh, the basic transfer.
This is it. This is what we've seen all half long, the mistakes that you just don't see very often.
Remember I mentioned that to Lars this week on our call too? You see sometimes Petey gets a face-off win, and it's a basic transfer to a Cormier or a Schellenberger, the pass, and it's a turnover. So all that work for nothing.
Look at Schellenberger on the ride.
Broke his stick. Quinn's going to lose his mind. Quinn's been talking about broken sticks this year. Thinks there's like an epidemic.
Great check by Schellenberger, and a beautiful pass, and Nunes robs Denenza. It was a beautiful play by Schellenberger to initially get Ledman to drop his cross, but Schellenberger couldn't go offside, so he couldn't follow up on it. Now Virginia quickly. Final 15 seconds. Can they get a good opportunity? McConvey, he's got to look too high.
That's the look. He's got to bury that. McConvey normally is money in that spot.
5.5. Sunderland's got to go quickly. He does! And he also got to look considering how much time he had. But the horn sounds, so two great opportunities for the Wahoos to end that first half.
Props to that young guy right there, Sunderland, with a gas-type dodge in a sellout. But William Helm says, not today.
At the break here at Koskinen, fans are loving the weather. Most of them are loving the lacrosse. It's 10-4. Duke on top of the break. Preview some ACC games coming up at the half. And there's a look at LaSalle and Nace. So the one thing about Petey LaSalle, he is a warrior.
He's answers the bell.
No question. He has taken, how many draws? I'm just trying to think how many draws he's probably taken in his career. 1,400 draws? Somewhere in that neighborhood?
I mean, in every single draw, it's like a wrestling match, right? Like, what these guys must feel like on Monday morning or Sundays
but here
after
we go.
Weekend games. Ouch.
Here we go. Naso again wins to start this second half. And Duke does a good job of not forcing it when they didn't have anything on the offensive end and now settling in 6v6.
Now, the one thing defensively I think Virginia could do better too is communicating. You saw some mishaps with the pick game when they're playing defense, but also sometimes some premature slides where Duke's getting these assisted goals. And Duke is finding their shooting stroke, right? 10 for 25 in the first half. Take that any day.
Denen's it down the alley, pushed out. That's a bad pass. Turns it over to Virginia. Nine turnovers on the game for the Duke Blue Devils. Xander Dixon, 0 goals, 0 assists in that first half.
Oof. He's third in the country in goals per game. Number 10 in blue. He's so good at cutting and timing the cuts, getting passes from teammates.
Schutz. Helm got a piece of that one, but on the move, the big midfielder.
Yeah, when you see that dodge from Griffin Schutz, 26 in blue, you say to yourself, let's do more of that, right? Let's use our big guy up top, especially against the short stick right here.
Here he is. Now the slide comes, but that leaves somebody open on the far side, and shot whistled high from Connor.
Yeah, Schutz is going to draw the attention of opposing defenses when he has a short stick on him.
Here's Schellenberger. McConvey, just off target.
They got to can these shots. I don't know if they're aiming too much for corners, like force Helm to make these stops. In the first half, Helm only made 3 saves.
That's unbelievable against this Virginia offense. The nation's leading offense coming in. Dixon can't handle the pass, but tracks it down. Still plenty of time to shoot. Schellenberger. How many of those have we seen today where the pass just goes wide and the player has to track it down? Now the shot clock comes into play. There's no sync, there's no flow. Connor, now it's desperation time. Gets it inside and they're able to finish it, and that's Cormier. It took them the entire shot clock, but eventually they did what they want to do.
You know, you talk about guys like what's wrong with this player, or they need this player to step up. The one constant in big games, and I say it all the time, is Peyton Cormier. Like, he catches everything, and he finishes inside. Like, he's not aiming for corners. He catches that ball under pressure. Frisoli's stick is in the gloves of Peyton Cormier, but it's just a subtle little quick fake, right, to get Helm totally off track, and he finishes down low. Where a lot of guys right now are aiming for the corners, right? They're aiming for the pipes. Cormier just gets it on cage. Get a quick fake, get the goalie to move, and can it.
Now another battle. Ground ball picked up by the Blue Devils. Gets it to McGuire. He'll sub out. Now this second midfield line coming on for Duke, including Tommy Schelling, who has 2 goals. Behind O'Neal. Saustad on him. Waymark comes over to help. Schelling on the shorty behind the cage. Nice job by Chismar. Now Zinn on Mitchell. Saustad comes to help out. Mitchell's in a little trouble, but he gets out of it. Now he gets it to a man in front.
This is a problem, though. If you watch that defense, Grant Mitchell's going against a short stick. He's nowhere close to beating his man. And Virginia slides to him and leaves the crease open. Like, why are they sliding prematurely? There's no man who's beat. There's no man right there that is in a vulnerable spot to be beaten. Like, you're creating offense for a team right there. Like, trust your one-on-one matchups. You want to win the bully game? Well, guess what the bully game, what do you think's involved in the bully game? It's one-on-one.
Right.
Like, win that matchup. That's what it consists of.
Nunes was able to make the save, his 8th of the day, and now Virginia back on offense, just looking to chip away. Schutz. Cormier. Spins free, now gets it back to Schutz. Schutz just wants to be physical, you can tell. Garno tries the slick pass inside, and no chance. Virginia hasn't 10-man ridden Duke very much today, have they?
No, and when they 10-man ride, you'll see Cole Kastner, 39 in blue, roam the middle, almost like a free safety in football, and he's exceptional in that spot.
Both teams have been perfect clearing the ball today. They haven't really been under a lot of pressure, at least that I can remember, Clark. Ledman. Look at the attention he draws. Now can Duke find someone open? They do, and it's O'Neal, but Nunes goes down and robs him.
That was sick ball movement. That was a spectacular roll by O'Neal, and the best save of the day for Matthew Nunes. That was pure robbery on Brennan O'Neal.
We talked about Nunes. When he makes a couple of saves early in a game, it really seems to help his confidence, and it usually bodes well for the rest of the afternoon, and that's exactly what has happened today. He has 9 saves, and he's kept Virginia in this game.
He has. And William Helm has been fine, but they haven't tested him much in terms of shooting on cage, right? Yeah. He only had to make 3 saves in the first half.
Miezon with a good idea there on the bounce shot. Rattled against the pipe. Now he loses it, but he'll track it down.
Watch how hard 19 in white checks Wilson Stevenson, like you feel it.
Miezon on the run. That's an easy save for Helm. And an outstanding outlet. Picked up by Boyer, and Boyer can run. McAdory can shoot. Misses it, though.
I'd like to see McAdory come more 3/4 or overhand and just can that, right? Shooting like that low sidearm, underhand release. Doesn't have the accuracy when he goes 3/4. When I watch him 3/4, it's way more effective.
Duke's in a little bit of a drought here themselves. Their last goal was at the 4:17 mark of the second quarter. Blue Devils trying to break out of it with Caputo. Got his right hand free, shoots. Nunes, sharp. Seeing it well today. That's 10 saves.
He's been a bright spot in a day of struggles for the Cavaliers. Their goalie, the sophomore from Houston, Texas, Matthew Nunes, has done his part.
Do the Cavs have a run in them? 5 goals at the midway point of this third quarter. It's almost hard to believe. Shoots, scores, make it 6. Couple from the big fella. The deficit is 4 goals now, Kark.
I'm seeing something different out of him in the third quarter, right? How assertive he's been in these possessions, going to the rack. He was a little unlucky in some prior attempts, but this one, he's just too big at 6'2". 230 shots, cans it, but it's all Matthew Nunes who's giving this offense life. Like, that is an incredible stop. And watch this, when he has a short stick on him, a big guy even like Aiden McGuire gives Stevenson a little shove, get out of my way after that goal. Stevenson didn't like it, but guess what? 26 is a beast, and he can get to the rack. When he has a short stick on him, it is green light all day long.
Another violation against Petey.
You rarely see Petey get beat like this.
Right. That's his first violation of this second half. Remember, he had 3 in the first, so 3 violations in any half means 30-second penalties for each ensuing violation.
And there's really no option B for either team. When they played 2 weeks ago, these guys took every single face-off. Every single face-off.
They take so many draws during the year that both these coaches in fall ball didn't even face them off. They're like, you guys just need to chill. Just chill out this fall and
live in an ice bath. Some cryotherapy.
Ledman with a head up to McAdory. McAdory coming off a screen. Castor comes around it, though. O'Neal looking to dodge on Sawstead. Tried to feed it into Williams. That was too tight of a pass, but McAdory gives chase, can't pick it up. Will go the other way.
What a play. Noah Chismar completely sells out for that while the Duke player is going for it. Scoops the ground ball, he dislodges it once Duke gets possession, sells out with the dive. Mark that one. If Virginia comes back and scores on this possession, it's all Noah Chismar, the sophomore short stick defensive midfielder for the Hoos.
Cormier on the shorty. He'll look to attack. Thought he had an angle. Gets the ball knocked away. Duke has played so well on this side of the field. On this side, it hasn't been as easy lately. 0 for their last 6 shots. Dating back to the second quarter.
Nunes has shut the door in this third quarter.
McAdory will take some air out of it. Allow all the substitutions to come on in, including Owen Caputo. And a man-up goal in that first half. Jaden Carey getting a little playing time, number 14. O'Neal on Sawstead. Sawstead just peppering him. Shelley, though, now the extra pass. Carey shoots. Nunes makes the save.
He bailed him out again. Sawstead was playing good defense. They slid too early.
Beautiful outlet, too. Kastner. Schellenberger. He'll shoot and score!
This is the life you need. In 41 in blue, Matthew Nunes has been brilliant in the third quarter. The early sliding by Virginia requires a bailout. There's only one person who can save this. It's your goalie. Closing the door. Duke is scoreless in this third quarter. It's Cole Kastner in transition. It's top shelf by Schellenberger. And it's the react by the goalie.
4 in a row for Virginia. It's now a 3-goal game. Duke on top at the 5:26 mark of this third quarter. And it has all started in goal with Matthew Nunes, his sensational play in this game.
Well, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Virginia has not played good defense. Premature slides left and right required constant bailouts by this goalie, Matthew Nunes, who I think has played his best game of the season. He turned it around a few weeks ago at Notre Dame.
Look at that outlet, too.
Saved 58%, but today he's just different. His body language, he's not guessing, his clearing, and giving this offense every opportunity. He shut the door against this Duke offense in the third quarter, and the defense needs to support him better. Because there are matchups, Cotter, where Duke offensive players are going to the cage and they haven't beaten their defenders, and then Virginia guys sliding, leaving guys open.
The other part of that, too, is the way Duke has played defense 6v6. Virginia needs fast break opportunities like the one they just got. The beautiful outlet to Kastner, finding one on the wing to finish it off. And Petey's not winning draws either, so they're not getting instant offense off of the face-off either like they usually get from 23.
And these aren't the type of wins for Duke at the face-off where you feel like, is it our wing play? Naso's winning these cleanly.
And then a mistake, though. That's a mistake by Duke.
Oh, that's a worse mistake by Virginia.
No flag, though. I haven't seen it. Do you see the flag? I don't see the flag.
No, it looked like Hans wanted to go after the flag.
He didn't pull it out, though. Dino's furious. So is Macdonowski. Now we get a flag.
And Lars isn't happy because of how late it is. Denenza can't handle the ball. Right, you see there, but then there's the late hit by Bauer, 25 in blue. That's what the Duke bench was arguing. Huge turn of events because Naso wins the face-off. But Virginia could have won the possession if they didn't hit Denenza late, because that was after the whistle. But Lars is upset, and I understand where he's coming from because the flag came like 15 seconds late.
After a lot of discussion from the Duke Blue Devil coaches.
So I agree with the call, but I understand Lars's frustration because of how late the flag actually came.
Duke is 1 for 3 man up today. That goal coming from Owen Caputo in the first half.
Bauer's in the box, and he belongs in the box
for
that
minute.
late hit. Yep, it was after the whistle. But the timing of the flag.
And you're right, I thought Lars Wittelsberger, our Hans Wittelsberger, rather, our
Hans,
referee.
Lars.
Hans was going to.
They sound like.
Right, we got all the Scandinavian names. I thought he was going to pull the flag right away, and he didn't. Kept it in his pocket at first. So this is a big situation here. Man up for Duke. O'Neal will, nope. Now he'll shoot.
They fell for it again. He did that 2 weeks ago.
Little twister on the end of it too.
Yeah, he gets the defense to bite like he's shooting from about 8 to 10.
Gets me to bite.
Yeah, and then he just dips underneath.
Now he'll shoot.
Nunes again.
I mean, those are painful. You know what's interesting? We saw Nunes. We saw Kip Turner shooting on Nunes before the game without a stick. Nunes didn't have a stick, and he was kicking him, and he was blocking him with his chest.
And I've seen that a lot, but normally it's the goalie uses his top hand to mirror the top hand when he has a stick during that drill. He had his hands kind of behind his back.
Right.
Yeah.
All body, all feet, all shins, anything you can to get in the way. Ball was tipped, it'll stay with Duke. Here's Kastner.
We're all even now.
All even, so they're able to kill that man down. Virginia was successful. Schelling, he'll get a look too high. He's going for the hat trick.
They killed the man down, but they lost the possession, right? Because Petey's been struggling at the face-off X, but you could have won that possession with the inability to have a basic exchange for Duke would have given Virginia the ball back.
25 to shoot. Balsamo on Soliday. Balsamo's a pretty slick player. Can Soliday stay with him? He can, but he held up a little bit, and that didn't matter. Charles Balsamo, the freshman, is able to beat Nunes. First goal in ages for the Blue Devils.
That could be the biggest goal of the day for Duke, because it's the answer. Virginia had 4 straight. Duke had been scoreless in this third quarter, and Grayson Soliday, who's been a lockdown short stick defender, tries to muscle up the freshman Balsamo, but when you talk to John Danowski, he says this kid is gritty and he is slick, and you see it on this goal. You see grit and you see slickness.
Balsamo's 15th, the freshman from Manhasset. And the lead is back to 4, Clark.
When you see a dodge like that from a freshman, you see confidence too, right? Like, he went to the cage with conviction.
Speaking of going to the cage, McAdory scores and makes it 2 in a row for the Blue Devils. He's missed a couple from that spot today. He wasn't going to miss that time.
A few minutes ago, Cotter, as Duke celebrates in the stands on a beautiful spring afternoon, I told you I didn't like his release. It was pure underhand. From the same exact spot, and I've seen Andrew McAdory do this before. This is the release I was looking for. It's a 3-quarter, over-the-top release to the bottom corner that is so hard to track, but more importantly, you have more control over that shot. When he's shooting pure underhand, the ball's flying all over the place. Plants his feet, that is a 3-quarter beautiful release to the bottom corner. You change the levels on a goalie, but more importantly, you find your strength from a shot release perspective. That's where he should be shooting, because from there, next time you could go high. You have way more control. You have options when you shoot with that 3-quarter release.
And this time it's Naso with a loose ball violation. A push against Naso, loose ball, so it'll go to Virginia. 2 goals in a row for Duke after Virginia had closed the gap. Connor. Going to get his hands free, can't do it, over to Cormier.
Yeah, and although Duke didn't score on the extra man when Bauer was in the box, they never lost possession, right? This is the first time Virginia has the ball from that moment.
Down 5 instead of 3.
Exactly.
McConvey looking for some help, or to dodge on the shorty. Now the help comes. Schellenberger. Good look. Oh, Schutz couldn't catch it.
Yeah, he had his eyes on the goal. You saw his head was facing the goal when it should have been on the ball.
Now he's on the run. Look at that full head of steam, and he beats him high.
This kid's a beast, man. And for someone like you, I'm sitting next to you, and I'm looking at these arms, and I'm looking at these chests, right? Like, there's no way you don't love a guy like Griffin Schutz.
Right. And I love the fact that he probably was upset at himself because he was going to have a good look, and then he got the ball back and did this.
This is why I always say go after a defender to their opposite hand, right? Wilson Stevenson switches his hand. He has to play cross forearm there against the grain to match that speed and physical perspective, where if Stevenson had Schutz going right-handed, it's to his strength. And I think the next level when you dodge is always to find out, like, what's the hand, the strong hand of my defender? Because you see how much they kind of lose momentum and they fight against the grain when you dodge against them to their offhand.
Duke has the advantage of the face-off dot, 17-5 in this game. Another 6v6 possession for Duke, where Balsamo and company can take a little bit of the air out of it. Caputo. O'Neal uses a Balsamo pick, gets free for a moment, but Sawstead is there. Ledman tried to get it to O'Neal. Now he's drawing a lot of attention up top, loses the ball. Picked up by Sawstead.
That was great defense again by Grayson Soliday. You know, the thing about Soliday is even when his offensive player, the guy he's guarding, scores a goal, like, no one really beats him totally clean. He is strong, he's got exceptional feet, and I still don't know how this guy had a torn ACL 11 months ago.
Dixon, look at that. That is what Dixon has done all season long so deftly, Kark. And on that play, it's so prototypical of what we have seen so far today. Just couldn't handle the pass. Now it's a tough pass, mind you. But Dixon all year long has caught every tough pass and converted them into goals. His ride, though, might get it back to Virginia, and it does. No time to sulk, Kark. You're down 4 goals here late in the going in the third quarter, and Xander Dixon does his job, rides it back, gets possession back to the Cavaliers. Now, can they do anything here in the final 20 seconds of this third quarter? Dixon just trying to do it on his own. There's nothing there. Sunderland, 10 seconds. Inside of Connor, defended beautifully by Brower. That'll do it. More of the same. Beautiful Duke defense, 6v6, preventing Virginia from getting anything going. But the Cavaliers were able to make a run there in the third quarter to close the gap, meaning it's anybody's game in the fourth. Can Griffin Schutz and company continue the comeback, or can the Blue Devils hang on and get another big win? Fourth quarter on the way. Packed house here at Koskinen as we head to the fourth quarter. Beautiful day for lacrosse. Finally, we've got the cold, the wind, the rain out of the way, and sunshine for a 4-point Duke lead as we head to the fourth quarter.
This is the best. This is why I always say, like, let's bottle up April and May's weather, right? How do you do that? Push the season back just a few weeks. You get the crowds out. This is a spectacular setting, and this is what it's all about.
This is what it's going to be about here in the fourth quarter. I mean, Petey LaSala's got to give his team opportunities for quick offense, doesn't he?
Yeah, and if you look at the history of these two players, LaSala has had the edge every single time they've gone head-to-head, except for today. Now, if you're a Virginia fan, what you can hang on and what you could believe in is the way Petey LaSala has always had a short memory, and he's always played his best in the biggest moments, in the biggest spots. Starting his freshman year in 2019 when they won the national title, went head-to-head with T.D. Erlin, who won the statistical matchup, but Petey had 2 goals in that game and won some critical face-offs.
Violation against Naso. So face-off number 1 in this fourth quarter to Petey. Now Connor will shoot. Helm, no problem.
He's lucky it was a rebound there, because that's not the shot for Connor. Stick side high on William Helm. Didn't move him at all.
Now Petey will sub off. McConvey will come on. Connor with it at X. Checked by a shorty. Skips it over to McConvey. Now here's Griffin Schutz. To Dixon. Gotta find a way to get him more involved. Schutz shoots. Deflected. Didn't get anything on it. Nice job by Helm to find Carpenter. Easy clear and a beautiful catch by McGuire.
McGuire, Gray in the middle of the field, the two youngsters, Gray the sophomore, McGuire the freshman. They're going to get another one next year in the recruiting cycle. Tomas Delgado out of the Brunswick School in Connecticut. He fits that mold. Ridiculous athlete, three-sport star. He's a wrestler, football player in lacrosse. And when you watch him in the middle of the field, he just makes a difference. And those are the guys, I don't think they really had too many of them the last few years. Now they have McGuire, they have Gray, they'll bring in Delgado. Like they're recognizing the importance of that spot.
Ledman on Zinn. Denenza. He'll roll, slide comes. Back to Ledman, still 20 to shoot. Zinn not giving him a shot. Williams, extra pass in front, scores! McAdory pays it off.
It's the ball movement and the unselfish approach. You have Ledman behind the cage, eyes are up. Duke gets Virginia kind of ball watching, and Denenza hits McAdory. High school teammates know each other's tendencies. Behind the cage, Denenza, who's a midfielder, is behind. McAdory, who's playing attack this year, is above. They kind of switch spots. But this kid's like a chameleon. He could do a little bit of everything, and the off-season story was switching him from midfield to attack, making him the quarterback, right? O'Neal is your guy, but O'Neal really doesn't live behind the cage. The idea with McAdory is you get that guy at X who can pass, that can beat guys with a one-on-one matchup with speed. You lose some midfield juice because McAdory's a guy that can make plays all over the field, but the importance of having that calming presence at the attack spot outweighed everything for John Danowski and staff.
Virginia had gotten it down to a 3-goal margin, but Duke has now taken it back out to 5. All kinds of scrapping in front. There's number 10. That is a Xander Dixon goal card if you've ever seen it. The quick hands in front of the crease.
Finishers only need a fraction of a second because of their mitts are so soft, and they know where the goal is without even looking at it. And this is Xander Dixon in a nutshell. Ball's flying all over the field. Bauer loses it, takes the hit, ball's loose, and a little backhand action to the far off pipe of William Helm. This is a thing of beauty. You could call it picking up the trash, call it whatever you want. I call it a sick goal, an awareness goal by Xander Dixon.
Maybe that gets him going too in this game. Look at what he's done all season long. 3rd in the country in goals per game at almost 4 per game coming in, and finally gets his first of the day.
You know, those finishers always have really, really soft hands, and when you have soft hands, you're able to adjust on the fly when the ball's on the ground. Like you can scoop, shoot all in one motion when your hands are really, really soft.
The lead is 4 for Duke.
If I'm Virginia now, I'm really not sliding much at all, because I think one-on-one they've done okay. The pitfalls of this defense have been sliding too early, sliding when it's not called for, like right there. There was not a defender beat. So eventually, ball movement will capitalize on sloppy defense in terms of communication and the timing of slides. Trust your one-on-one matchups.
Here's McAdory and Kastner. Now Whalen comes over.
The more you can trust your matchups, the deeper you could go into the shot clock, too.
O'Neal got under his man, but the slide was perfect that time. Prevent O'Neal from getting a shot, and in a collision just outside the crease. Both O'Neal and looks like Matsui maybe Matsui for Virginia, both hobbling a bit. O'Neal's still down. Matsui's gotten up under his own power. Take another look. There's the collision.
Yeah, he's hurting there. The slide, and as he's falling down, it's hard to tell
whether he got a knee in the ribs or something like that.
Hard to tell if it hit his upper body or his lower body.
Here's Matsui
so
limping off. So Matsui caught it in the lower body, it looks. Take another look. See if this angle gives us any more of an indication.
He's sliding down. He kind of loses his footing right there. It looks like the lower body's collided.
Yeah, maybe a hip, just like a Charlie horse. Hip pointer a little bit for O'Neal, and he's walking it off under his own power, as did Matsui. Well, that's good to see at least.
Yes. You want to make a run at a national title, your first since 2014, you're going to need 34 in white. He changes the way you play offense.
Lets his team know with a growl he's all right. Maybe take a moment or so and then get back in there. 60 seconds, a fresh 60 to shoot for Duke. They were able to chase down the errant shot. So now an extended possession for the Virginia defense on this side. They won't have 34 in there right away. But they're down 4 in the fourth quarter. They need to get some turnovers and they need to get some quick scoring opportunities because Duke has played so well on the defensive end when they settle in 6v6. Schelling has 2 goals on Soliday. Now Whalen comes over. Now you have Soliday on Balsamo. Sawstead comes over. Balsamo gets it over to Williams to McAdory. On Kastner. Quick inside. What a hustle. Race for the end line was won by Whalen. On Caputo's missed shot. Nunes has 5 seconds to get it across the midfield line, and he does. Now he looked for some help and can't find anybody.
That's a good timeout.
Lars was screaming for it and got it.
Can't take him to the bus when your goalie's on the other side of the field. Once he gets in that box, you got to call it.
10:38 still to play in this one. Lars desperately trying to figure out a way to close the gap as Wahoos trail by 4. The ACC's Committee for Racial and Social Justice, in conjunction with its members' institutions, have identified April 15th to the 23rd as ACC Unity Week. Fourth quarter here in Durham. 10:38 to play. It was 6-2 after one, Kark. So Virginia's been toe-to-toe with Duke ever since. They just can't quite close the gap any closer. Duke's played great defense. They've owned the face-off dot. They've just kept them at bay.
Yeah, I don't think Virginia has shot particularly well.
Helm! And a great outlet. That's 8 saves now for Helm. Watch out for Gray. McAdory. Frizzoli, he can shoot. Chooses not to. Loses his footing, gets it back.
Saying they haven't shot well. Helm's only had to make 8 saves. They haven't really tested him a ton. And right now you see Brendan O'Neal still on the sideline. Charles Balsamo, who's a midfielder as a freshman, but all of his history is as an attackman. He replaces Brennan O'Neill at the left attack spot, 0 and white. Crafty and can make plays.
Giving you a glimpse of the future a little bit. Here he is, goal line extended. Caputo's got 22 to shoot. Try to get into McAdory, tight quarters, is in. He can run like the wind.
Bye-bye, look at the legs.
He's gonna have to take the shot and doesn't score. That's a juice goal. That got the Virginia bench up. As much as we've seen them all game long, the deficit is once again at 3 goals. Is this the inflection point this Wahoo team needs?
Speed kills. Virginia gets the ground ball. It's Evans in, and it is pure gas, and no one picks him up. They're too concerned about Cormier and Dixon and Schellenberger, as they should, because those guys are lethal scorers. But that's when Evans in's at his best. I call it the punt return clear. He goes end to end. You can't match feet with him. He's the fastest guy on the field essentially every time he plays.
Catching a little bit of a breather after that full field run. Petey, he wins this draw.
This is a short memory of Petey LaSalla. Mention it coming into the 4th quarter. Don't look at the stats.
Soliday spins. Thought he might take a shot. Instead, he gets it to Schellenberger. That's a smart move. Now Cormier on the far side. Wholesale substitutions for Virginia.
This is a monster possession.
They've gotten it down to 3 before, but they haven't been able to get any closer. McConvey has been off target. Can he get going? Miezon right into Helm's cross. And a quick outlet to McGuire.
Gotta move Helm. Bouncer I get, you just need more of a high bouncer in that spot. If you're Ricky. Ricky had his feet set. Now Duke will try to play keep away.
Still have not seen, O'Neill is in the game.
Yeah, he's back and Balsamo's back at midfield. So Balsamo gets the short stick essentially every time he's playing in the midfield with Ledman, who's been getting the attention from opposing defenses.
Now Kastner is on Balsamo. McAdory will set the pick. Chismar back on Balsamo. Comes topside. Back to his left. Now the help comes in the form of Connor. O'Neill, look at the physical play, crashing into his defender. Ledman shoots. Nunes makes the save. Look at the battle for this loose ball.
Still a shot. I don't know why Bauer just didn't let it go out. He was closer to the ball.
One possession for Virginia anyways with that hustle.
There's life for the Virginia Cavaliers here. Find your matchups. Griffin Schutz has been aggressive in this second half. Cormier, but then the offsides.
That
wow.
is a killer. And an open net and a score! Duke takes advantage because Nunes was all the way out here on the opposite side of the field.
That's not on Nunes. That's on the communication to have 4 back. Do not blame your goalie. He's trying to get the ball upfield. He's dealing with a clearing clock. It is not his responsibility. It's everyone else to talk, to communicate, to make sure that they have 4 back in the defensive zone, and they don't. And then the quick restart. And this is a backbreaker, Connor.
And Jack Gray does a great job of picking up the ball and just firing it into the empty net.
Yeah, he's looking right now just to clear the ball. Get it over the midfield.
And he has to hustle back. He knows he's out of position and they're in a really bad spot.
Virginia's gonna watch the tape. It's gonna be careless mistakes like that. There's 3 things that pop up, right? Careless mistakes that when they shouldn't have had to, because Their one-on-one matchups, I thought they played solid one-on-one D. The breakdowns have been when they've decided to slide when guys weren't beat. That created offense for Duke.
Duke beat Virginia by 2 goals just 2 weeks ago up in Charlottesville, and now they lead by 4 past the midway point of this fourth quarter today.
Think about it, Cotter. How many times have you seen a Duke offensive player cleanly beat a Virginia defender? O'Neal had that question mark in the first quarter. McAdory, it looked like a clean break, but that was a pick or a lack of communication playing the pick game.
Nunes, and when they have, like they did on that possession, Nunes has come up big. Zinn shoots too high. Dixon is there to back it up.
It's okay, you have the backup. I thought he could have passed to Soliday. There was a 2-on-1 right there. Soliday was up top after that clear.
Now Schellenberger, who missed last week's game with an injury. Weren't sure whether he was going to start until the very beginning of this game. He's going to have to take over. Schutz. Pass out front. McConvey can't pick it up. Big ground ball here. Dixon gets it. Connors open up top. Dixon can't get it to him. Got it to Schutz, though, and he beats Helm.
One thing you can't question when you watch the tape is the effort of Griffin Schutz. 26 in blue, has been a tireless worker, especially in this second half. Bodies are flying. The boys in blue get that ground ball. Xander Dixon finds Schutz, who actually catches it across his face, all in one motion, catches that ball, brings it back and shoots within a fraction of a second. This is a high-end technical type shot and goal by Griffin Schutz. He made it look easy, Cotter, but to catch that across your face and then shoot right away, that was big time by the big boy.
Hat trick for Schutz. All of them here in the second half, I believe. Petey. Big face-off. Can he pick it up? Ground ball goes to Duke. O'Neal will shoot. Man, that has a lot of mustard on it.
Does it ever. Petey won that draw, but Duke wins the possession. He won the initial draw, but you saw Duke made that really a 3-on-3 face-off, and they swarmed Petey.
McAdory beat his man. Now he shoots. Nunes gets another piece of it. Virginia gets possession, down 3. Can they somehow get it to 2? Hasn't been a 2-goal advantage for Duke since early in this game.
This is the highest scoring team in the country, Cotter. They average over 18 goals a game. Opposing coaches look at this personnel and they say, this is an embarrassment of riches. Of course they could get it done.
Cormier on the shorty. Swim dodge. Inside tight quarters, and Helm makes the save. Schellenberger battling for the ground ball, but it's won by Boyer.
I think that was a pipe, and sometimes it's just not your day.
Right. Will Duke look to strike? McAdory, nope, slows it down. That's a veteran move.
That would have been a huge goal by McConvey.
Schelling will run some clock.
Got to start thinking about pressing these one-on-one matchups, and the quick slides earlier weren't just, but when you're down by 3 with 4 and change left, you might have to quickly double.
Caputo finishes it off.
It's 14-11. You're feeling a run by Virginia. After the Schutz goal, they get the ball back. Cormier finds McConvey, and just unlucky. Tommy Schellens had the best game of his season. He was a mainstay in the Lehigh offense. The ball was in his stick a ton. He comes to Durham. There's a wealth of talent and superstars who are option 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you're on the periphery. But today, I thought his vision and his ability to find teammates like Owen Caputo, who scores that Those two guys have played well.
Yes.
Caputo from the outside earlier in the second quarter with a rip. This time inside, Schelling with goals and assists. You're getting those complementary pieces.
Rare face-off win for Virginia in this game. They got to move quickly. Schellenberger, that's quickly. Finds Chismar, that's one back.
What a pass and what deception on the shot by Noah Chismar, who played attack in high school and wasn't expected to be a key contributor earlier in his career when he arrived on campus. But watch the shot. Look at the deception. Beautiful feed. Dips his head and his shoulders low and gets William Helm to beat. And you haven't seen a lot of that from Virginia. That's a beautiful one-time pass by Connor Schellenberger. Chismar cans it.
Still life.
There is life.
Down 3:47.
Petey's got to win every face-off the rest of the game if Virginia wants to push this thing into potential overtime.
Well, that's 2 in a row. He rolled to take a shot and just didn't get anything on it. Convey gets possession back to Virginia, was worried about being offside.
They had him back.
Yep.
You know, in that spot, I don't want Petey to shoot, and I'd probably tell him before because you need him for potentially 3 more faceoffs.
Right.
Like, don't tire him out.
Schellenberger. Up top to Connor. Cormier. Double comes when he splits it and scores! Now it's 2 goals. Finally.
Best compliment I could give Peyton Cormier. He's a gamer. He's a flat-out gamer. Every time the moment is big, his shooting is better. There's always ice in his veins, and Duke has dared him in both matchups to beat them as a Dodger. And guess what Peyton Cormier has done in both games? Beaten them as a Dodger. So defensive coordinator Ron Caputo says, we're going to short stick Peyton Cormier. He's had 10 goals in 2 games against Duke. The beauty of it, though, is you could argue if you're Caputo, you've allowed your defense then to disguise and do other things defensively by putting a short stick on Cormier because you have another pull on the perimeter.
Violation against Petey on that draw. So now Duke once again, and now with a 2-goal advantage, can't just sit on it now. McAdory just running Kastner ragged.
No way I go to the goal and shoot unless it's 15 or under.
Timeout called by Dino. He may be telling him that exact same thing or something to the order of it. Got every single game of the ACC Women's Lacrosse Championship starting next Sunday afternoon on the ACC Network. Quarterfinals next Wednesday starting at noon. Semis Friday, 1 and 3:30. Championship game is Sunday, the 30th at noon. All from American Legion Memorial Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I'll be watching. A lot of storylines there. Defending national champ, University of North Carolina. You got obviously the BCs of the world. Clemson in its first year in the ACC, but don't forget about the Syracuse Orange, who's ranked #1.
Right? We were out with Jay Alter last night. He's in town for North Carolina. Sheehan is here. Dana Boyle is going to be with Charlotte North and the crew in Charlotte calling that game, but our conversation with Jay says obviously Northwestern's very good. Watch out for James Madison too.
Yep, Denver too. Denver's undefeated.
They're unbeaten.
But the big news of today is what's going on down the road about 10 miles at North Carolina. Syracuse undefeated against the defending national champs, North Carolina, who have a couple losses. It's 10-9 Cuse right now in the 3rd quarter. That is a good one.
Nice. So Virginia's made it a game here. They've been threatening to make it a game ever since the first quarter, Kark, but Duke has been able to hold them at bay. 3 goals, 4 goals. Now it's 2 because Virginia's finally getting things going and making a run because of guys like Griffin Schutz.
I thought Schutz has been terrific. Noah Chismar had a huge goal. The thing is, when you watch these 2 games, and they've been played over 2 weeks, 2 close games score-wise, but you never felt like Duke lost control of either of these games.
Right. This whole game, even now at 2 goals,
they always had that answer. When Virginia cut it to 3, they had the answer. There was always the answer in these 2 matchups.
Part of it today, Kark, is the fact that even though he's won a couple here in this run, Petey has been dominated at the faceoff X. I think that's part of why you feel like Duke is in control of this game, because even if
time of possession,
even if Virginia goes on a run, Naso's going to win you possession.
They're shutting off right now, relying on Cole Kastner.
Ledman had a look, but he decided not to take the shot. Now he's in trouble. Gets it to McAdory, though, and we get another timeout.
Smart.
So Dino wants to use that other timeout with Ledman in a little bit of trouble. 32 seconds to shoot.
I would expect Dino, an offensive coordinator, Matt Danowski, probably give another player the ball right now after Ledman just is probably a little gassed and been double teamed and beaten. Give another fresh dog out there. Andrew McAdory probably would be my call because of how fast he is, and
you can just run away from everybody.
He can run. He'd be the guy that I'd put the ball on the stick of.
Big month for the ACC still to go. You know, they don't have a conference tournament, Kark, anymore, so it's all about the regular season in terms of winning the conference, in terms of not only making it to the NCAA tournament as at-large bids, as all of the bids are at-large bids from the ACC. They don't get an automatic bid because they don't have 6 teams. But they all want to host in the first round, too. I mean, all these things are coming into play in the last 3 or 4 weeks of the year.
Everyone's still alive of the 5 teams. And I know this sounds crazy, but if North Carolina and Syracuse both win 2 of their last 3, you could argue that all 5 have a chance to get in.
Right. You'd have to wait and see what happens in conferences like the Patriot. Does Army win out, or does somebody maybe upset them in the championship game like a Lehigh or a BU or somebody, where Army gets a second bid maybe from the Patriot? Maybe, I'm saying. The Big East is another one. Georgetown is looking really good lately, and their RPI is very high. If they go all the way to the championship game and Denver beats them, Big East could have 2 teams in.
Gotta love this time of the year. That's why this Syracuse-Carolina game at 4 o'clock on ESPNU is a monster tilt, because the winner of that then has a chance, could only split the last 2, where the loser has to win their last 2 games. That puts a ton of pressure on you. If you're Syracuse and you lose today, you got to beat Virginia and Duke. If you beat Carolina today, maybe you split, you get in.
There's enough pressure on you if you win this game today.
Absolutely.
Forget about losing it. O'Neal, off the top of the pipe, sails into the
gives
crowd.
you a fresh 60.
Yep.
That's the best miss you possibly can have, right? That's the best scenario. That's better than a goal. That is better than a goal, because a goal brings it back to the face-off dot, and you are not guaranteed to get the ball again. That is the best possible scenario you could have if you're Brendan O'Neal. Better than a goal.
Virginia wants a timeout with the dead ball. And Lars is pointing at something down there in the corner. Maybe he thought his player was closest to the ball when it went out of bounds.
I mean, it's definitely a reset.
Yeah.
Can't argue that. It's the pipe.
It's going to hit the pipe and then make sure there's a Blue Devil closest to it when it goes out of bounds.
Caputo's back there.
Let's see.
Back there already, or then he starts moving. Let's see. Watch 1.
Ping.
Yeah, I mean, Caputo on your left side's closer to the ball when it goes out of bounds, for sure. Our producer, John Kettering, will probably tell me after the game that O'Neal meant to do that.
I mean, is he that good? Would you doubt? Would you put it? No, I mean, I know he didn't mean to do it, but it's fun to think about. Maybe he's that good. So they could run this clock.
Did not mean to do that.
I know. They could run this clock down to 38 seconds.
Yeah.
without even having to take a shot.
Again, I'm giving the ball to McAdory. I'm making that guy bleed this clock dry. Yeah, a lot of times in the backyard, my daughter and I will shoot and play the horse version of lacrosse, which we call lax, and we'll play for pipes.
It's a cool character right there, Dino with the sunglasses. They just played the Beatles. Beatles on the loudspeaker. They got the Stones now. Probably all he can do not to sing along with it. Instead, focus on coaching this team. Son Matt, recently retired from playing pro lacrosse, his offensive coordinator.
And then Ronnie Caputo, who's been a mainstay on his staff, is a terrific lacrosse mind. Running the defense. Right now he's the box area. There's Matt, Coach Dino.
So now you talk about pressing.
Yeah, this is the guy.
Look at 11 and 39 on McAdory, trying to run him out of bounds. McAdory keeps it in bounds, but a huge ground ball and a chance for Zinn, who can't pick it up, but it's flipped in front. Sawsted has it. He's hit, but he stays in bounds.
Oof, that was a perfectly played out scenario for Virginia.
No timeouts for either team, so 10's got to go quickly. Little chaos just may favor Virginia. Shuts.
He's going.
Shoots it to 10, who finishes. Dixon makes it a one-goal game.
Wow.
It couldn't have been any better for Virginia in that scenario. They got possession, they got a quick goal, and they're down one with over a minute still to play.
The best Duke player ever at icing games in that situation was Jordan Wolf. I mean, he did it week in and week out. Could split a double team. McAdory tries his best Jordan Wolf impersonation, but Virginia in the double and the ground balls and the flip, everything works out to perfection. And Shuts, I think he's going to the rack there, and you see all the Duke defenders are facing 26, and he knows it's time to pass. And then the third most prolific goal scorer in the country, and Xander Dixon cans it. This is the face-off of all face-offs in this game.
It's huge.
Wow.
Petey wins it. Connor with possession for Virginia. No timeouts, as we just mentioned.
Got to have backup if you're UVA. And what about Petey? Dominated all day in the biggest face-off of the day. He answers.
Oh, Cormier tried to flip it to McConvey. Loose ball picked up by Duke. Straight up in the air. O'Neal gets it, and Nunes robs him.
Why would you shoot that? You have the ball. That's the most important thing in this moment. Nothing's more important than bleeding this clock dry.
Connor. Oh, what a catch by Shuts to keep possession. Look at Shuts inside. Saved by Helm. 10 seconds left on the clock. Still time for Virginia. Dixon over to Connor. He's going to take a long shot, but Helm goes down and steal it. That's going to do it. What a finish here at Koskinen.
Brennan O'Neal should send William Helm a fruit basket.
Or something else a little stronger. Maybe this weekend here in Durham. What a game. Duke hangs on. 15-14 the final. For Paul Carcaterra and our entire crew, I'm Chris Cotter. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let's send you to Charlottesville for the Virginia Spring Game.